New York Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. catches the ball during warm-ups before facing the New Orleans Saints at MetLife Stadium. Danielle Parhizkaran, USA Today Sports. Before trading Odell Beckham Jr. to the Browns, the Giants were trying to pry the no. 2 pick away from the San Francisco 49ers. Niners GM John Lynch revealed some insight into those negotiations on Friday, telling KNBR that having the no. 2 pick made it difficult to reach a deal with the Giants for Beckham. I think, ironically, the fact that we had the no. 2 pick made it more difficult because they wanted that badly, he said. They wanted 2 no-ones and we weren't willing to part with that. It was too valuable of a pick. The 49ers were, however, willing to swap the no. 2 pick with the Giants' no. 6 pick in the draft, according to NFL Network's Mike Garofalo, but the Giants ultimately wanted to increase their volume of picks and there were problems on what the additional compensation would be and talks broke down after that. The no. 2 pick in the draft would have allowed the Giants to have the options between possibly drafting the heir apparent to Eli Manning or one of the best pass rushers in the draft between Nick Bosa and Josh Allen. Instead, the Giants found a suitor in the Browns where they were able to get the no. 17 pick in addition to their 6th pick, as well as a 3rd rounder and safety Jabril Peppers. GM Dave Gettleman said that the Browns' offer was simply too much value to pass up, as he considers Peppers the equivalent to a 1st rounder. September 16, 2018, Arlington, Texas, USA. New York Giants running back Saquon Barkley, 26, and quarterback Eli Manning, 10, on the field before the game against the Dallas Cowboys at it. Mandatory credit. Tim Heitman, USA Today Sports. Tim Heitman, Saquon Barkley doesn't want to hear anyone complaining about Eli Manning, either. The Giants made a few controversial moves this offseason that has forced many to question if there really is a plan in East Rutherford. And while Landon Collins walked and Odell Beckham Jr. was surprisingly traded to the Browns, the team has shown continued faith in Manning. Manning is no stranger to fans wanting him to call it quits, but Barkley is sick of hearing he can't play the game anymore. The rookie sensation didn't hold back when asked about it. March 1, 2019, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. Duke quarterback Daniel Jones, QB07, speaks to media during the 2019 NFL Combine at the Indiana Convention Center. Mandatory credit. Trevor Rishkovsky, USA Today Sports. Trevor Rishkovsky, as the Giants search for Eli Manning's successor, they're doing their due diligence on the quarterbacks in the 2019 NFL draft class, and Pat Shurmur is going to get an up-close look at a possible 1st-round pick. Duke quarterback Daniel Jones will visit the Giants on Thursday for a private workout, a source told SNY's Ralph Vacchiano. Giants offensive coordinator Mike Shula was at Duke's Pro Day on Tuesday while Shurmur was at the NFL owners' meetings, so Shurmur will use Thursday as a chance to get his own look at Jones. Curvebly, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. Perhaps you've heard, the Giants have a plan. They've been pretty insistent on that over the last week. Also, their purge of some of their most popular players was just business. It certainly wasn't personal with Odell Beckham, whom all the key people in the organization insist they genuinely liked. All that, of course, is part of the company line. But what have we really learned about what the Giants think and are doing over the last 4 days? After speaking to co-owners John Mara and Steve Tisch, coach Pat Shurmur, and multiple sources inside and outside of the organization, here are 10 takeaways from the Giants' time at the NFL's annual owners' meetings at the Arizona Biltmore Hotel, February 27, 2019, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. New York Giants general manager Dave Gettleman speaks to the media during the 2019 NFL Combine at the Indianapolis Convention Center. Mandatory credit. Brian Spurlock, USA Today Sports. Brian Spurlock. Giants general manager Dave Gettleman continues to hit back at critics who say the team should move on from Eli Manning. Speaking on NFL Network's Good Morning Football on Wednesday, Gettleman once again came to Manning's defense and insists he can still get the job done at 38 years old. At the end of the day, you can't win without a quarterback. We all know it. It's just the way the game is built. You have to have a quarterback. Gettleman said, I really believe there's been a false narrative out there that Eli's finished, he's done. He had a heck of a year. We scored a lot of points late. New York Giants quarterback Eli Manning throws in a second quarter against the Tennessee Titans at MetLife Stadium. Robert Deutsch, USA Today Sports. 2 weeks after the Giants sent shockwaves throughout the NFL by trading Odell Beckham Jr., Eli Manning revealed who he feels is his most talented teammate ever, and you can definitely guess who it is. Asked on Wednesday to name the most talented player he's ever played with, Manning said, Odell, according to Newsday's Neil Best. Manning was speaking at NYIT's Brain Injury Awareness Celebrity Sports Forum in Woodbury. According to Best, Manning was not made available to reporters after the event. December 30, 2018, Seattle, Washington, USA. Arizona Cardinals quarterback Josh Rosen, 3 passes against the Seattle Seahawks during the fourth quarter at CenturyLink Field. Mandatory credit. Joe Nicholson, USA Today Sports. Joe Nicholson, Phoenix. The Giants are planning to investigate every possible option when it comes to finding their quarterback of the future, and that includes a potential trade for Arizona Cardinals quarterback Josh Rosen. But here's the thing, at the moment they have no idea if Rosen is, or ever will be, available. And nothing that happened at the NFL owners' meetings this week has cleared that mystery up. January 20, 2019, New Orleans, Louisiana, USA. Los Angeles Rams defensive back nickel Roby Coleman, 23, breaks up a pass intended or New Orleans Saints wide receiver Tommy Lee Lewis, 11, during the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game at Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Mandatory credit. Chuck Cook, USA Today Sports. Chuck Cook. The Saints finally get their vindication. The NFL approved a new rule on Tuesday to expand replay review to cover offensive and defensive pass interference, which will apply to both calls and non-calls. The reviews will be initiated by a coach's challenge. With the exception of the last 2 minutes of the half-hour game, in which a replay official will initiate the process. August 30, 2018, Detroit, Michigan, USA. Cleveland Browns defensive back Jabril Peppers, 22, looks to his right before the game against the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. Mandatory credit. Raj Mehta, USA Today Sports. Raj Mehta. The NFL requested 2 reports from Cleveland police last week for information involving Giants safety Jabril Peppers, one involving a stolen gun and the other a homicide of a 57-year-old woman. According to News 5 Cleveland, police said that Peppers is not a suspect in either incident. A police source told News 5 Cleveland that Peppers was only a victim of the gun theft. October 22, 2016, London, United Kingdom. New York Giants co-owner John Mara left, and quarterback Eli Manning during NFL fan rally at the Victoria House prior to Game 16 of the NFL International Series against the Los Angeles Rams. Mandatory credit. Kirby Lee, USA Today Sports. Kirby Lee, Phoenix. The Giants are not trying to rush Eli Manning out of their organization. That's not what their search for his successor is all about. The urgency they feel is all about taking advantage of all that Manning has to offer. They want their next franchise quarterback to learn from the master while he's still here. Well, I certainly believe that Eli does everything the right way behind the scenes, Pat Shurmur said at the annual NFL Coaches Breakfast on Tuesday morning. And I certainly believe that's something a young quarterback can value from seeing. That's part of Eli's charm, is how well he works, how well he prepares, how professional he is about doing his job. March 3, 2019, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. Michigan defensive lineman Rashawn Gary, DL37, runs the 40-yard dash during the 2019 NFL Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium. Mandatory credit. Brian Spurlock, USA Today Sports. Brian Spurlock, Ralph Bacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. Pat Shurmur knows that time is running out on Eli Manning's career, and he'd like to find his successor, sooner rather than later. But the Giants don't feel any urgency to do it in this year's NFL Draft. Especially not with all the pass rushers and defensive players who could be available for them instead. Schumer talks Odell draft 0 hours 1 minute and 45 seconds. New York Giants head coach Pat Shermer comments on the Odell Beckham Jr. trade and the talent level of the QBs in the 2019 NFL Draft. When it comes to who will succeed Eli Manning as the Giants quarterback, coach Pat Shermer agrees with his general manager Dave Gettleman. He'd rather find a solution sooner rather later. While that's not necessarily a secret, Shermer did say at the NFL's owners' meetings on Tuesday in Arizona that he would like Manning's successor to learn from the 15-year veteran and play behind him for at least one season. Shermer also added that it wouldn't be Manning's job to train the future quarterback of the Giants. March 21, 2019, Columbia, Missouri, USA. Missouri Tigers quarterback Drew Lock 3 passes during Missouri Pro Day at Divine Indoor Pavilion. Mandatory credit, Jeff Curry. USA Today Sports. Jeff Curry. By this point in the lead-up to the NFL Draft, it's no secret the Giants have been linked to selecting a quarterback with the 6th overall selection. Most of that speculation, if general manager Dave Gettleman does opt to address the future of the quarterback position with the pick, has revolved around the Giants drafting Dwayne Haskins. But on Tuesday, NFL Network's Peter Schrager released a new mock draft with the Giants selecting a different signal caller. Schrager has the Giants taking former Missouri quarterback Drew Lock at that spot, with Haskins falling to the Broncos at no. 10, and reigning Heisman Trophy winner Kyler Murray going first overall to the Cardinals. January 27, 2019, Los Angeles, California, USA. New York Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. attends the game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Phoenix Suns at Staples Center. Mandatory credit, Jane Kamien-Wansa. USA Today Sports. Jane Kamien-Wansa, at least one respected league veteran, believes a change of scenery will serve former Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. well. Cardinals wideout Larry Fitzgerald, speaking at the NFL's owners' meetings on Monday in Arizona, said that although the trade that sent Beckham to the Browns caught him by surprise, the move can be great for him. Getting to a smaller city where there's just not as many distractions, he can focus on ball and really let his talents do the speaking for him. Fitzgerald told Cleveland.com. He's with that group with Jarvis Landry. Again, they went to college together, so that could be a great combination with a rising quarterback Baker Mayfield, as well. The NFL Shield logo on a football helmet. Adam Hunger, USA Today Sports Images. With player safety a continued emphasis for the NFL, owners held a pair of votes Tuesday to improve the game in that sense. The kickoff changes implemented last season, which eliminated wedge blocks, disallowed running start and instituted alignment regulation, was voted on and made permanent. According to the NFL, concussions decreased by 38% on kickoffs last year compared to 2015-17. December 30, 2018, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. New York Giants quarterback Eli Manning, 10, leaves the field after losing to the Dallas Cowboys 36-35 at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit, Danielle Parhizkaran /NorthJersey.com via USA Today Network. Danielle Parhizkaran, Phoenix. Dave Gettleman dreams of finding the Giants' next franchise quarterback, and ideally he'd have him sit and learn behind Eli Manning for a year. John Mara likes that idea too, but isn't opposed to waiting until 2020 to find that next quarterback too. By then, of course, Manning will be gone. Or maybe he won't be. In other words, a quarterback transition that should have been in the works for years still isn't finalized, and might not be for a while. October 22, 2016, London, United Kingdom. New York Giants co-owner John Mara left, and quarterback Eli Manning during NFL fan rally at the Victoria House prior to Game 16 of the NFL International Series against the Los Angeles Rams. Mandatory credit, Kirby Lee. USA Today Sports. Kirby Lee, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. The Giants have committed to Eli Manning as their starting quarterback in 2019, but what about having him back in 2022? Don't laugh, because there's a scenario where it could happen that's not completely far-fetched. It's worth noting that neither of the Giants co-owners would rule it out. Giants owners talk Odell 0 hours 1 minute and 38 seconds. SNY NFL insider Ralph Vacchiano reports from the NFL owners' meetings, where the Giants owners talked about the trade of Odell Beckham Jr. Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. John Mara never once thought the Giants would actually trade Odell Beckham Jr. until just days before they actually did. And even in the final hour, he needed one last car ride home from the office before he gave his reluctant approval to the deal. And he only did because, despite Beckham's unique talent, Mara believes the Giants could be a better team in the future given what they received from the Cleveland Browns in return. John Mara, owner of the New York Giants, during a press conference at Quest Diagnostics Training Center to introduce Pat Shurmur as new head coach. No okay. Murray, USA Today Sports. Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. Giants co-owner John Mara loves Eli Manning and everything he's done for the franchise. But the idea that he's keeping the 38-year-old quarterback around out of sentimentality, well, that really riles Mara up. October 11, 2018, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. New York Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. 13, dances during warm-ups before a game against the Philadelphia Eagles at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit. Brad Penner, USA Today Sports. Brad Penner, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. There was no doubt Odell Beckham Jr. could be a headache for the Giants. He had a knack for creating unwanted headlines and distractions, and he was a lightning rod for controversy, much of which he created for himself. But co-owners John Mara and Steve Tisch wanted to make it very clear they genuinely liked their star receiver. They did not order GM Dave Gettleman to get rid of him. And they absolutely do not think that Beckham is a bad guy. New York Giants owner John Mara speaks during an NFL football news conference introducing Pat Shurmur as head coach of the Giants, Friday, Jan. 26, 2018, in East Rutherford, NJ. Shurmur, the former Minnesota Vikings offensive coordinator, was announced as the new coach less than 24 hours after he and the Vikings were beaten by the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC title game. The 52-year-old Shurmur replaces Ben McAdoo, who was fired in early December. AP photo, Julio Cortez, AP. Among NFL owners, John Mara clearly isn't afraid of bucking a trend. Members of the competition committee voted Sunday at the owners' meetings in Arizona on a motion that would replace onside kick attempts with a 4th and 15 down by the offense. The Giants owner was the lone dissenter in adopting the new rule, and he was quite emphatic in his stance. Kirby Lee, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. Dave Gettleman has dismantled a big chunk of the Giants roster, while spending the team's money in some odd places. He's left a fan base angry, confused, and beginning to lose patience and hope. In the end, though, Gettleman's plan only really needs the approval of his bosses, and it's safe to say that even though team ownership doesn't meddle in football decisions, co-owner John Mara would have had to approve most of these off-season moves. There's no way a big deal such as the Odell Beckham trade would have happened if ownership wasn't in on it from the start. October 15, 2017, Houston, Texas, USA. Cleveland Browns offensive guard Kevin Zeitler, 70, during the game against the Houston Texans at NRG Stadium. Mandatory credit. Kevin J. Raj, USA Today Sports. Kevin J. Raj. Before the Giants and Browns struck the trade of the offseason with Wr. Odell Beckham Jr. heading to Cleveland, they made another deal where Olivier Vernon was on his way as well. In that deal, the Giants got Kevin Zeitler in return, a right guard that would be plugged right into their offensive line next season. Zeitler didn't think he would be making the move, though. There was some speculation that the Browns had him on the trade market, but after signing a 5-year, $60 million deal back in 2017 with Cleveland, he thought he would be there for the long haul. Instead, he saw his phone blow up during a workout, and the shock set in. New York Giants cornerback Curtis Riley intercepts a pass intended for Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Deshaun Jackson in the fourth quarter at MetLife Stadium. Robert Deutsch, USA Today Sports. The Giants lost another safety on Friday when Curtis Riley tweeted he was joining the Raiders. While the Giants acquired Jabril Peppers in the blockbuster Odell Beckham Jr. trade earlier this month, their secondary took a massive hit after infamously not placing the franchise tag on Landon Collins, letting him walk and eventually sign a 6-year deal with the Washington Redskins. Cleveland Browns offensive guard Kevin Zeitler blocks Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive tackle Channing Ward during the second quarter at Raymond James Stadium. Kim Clement, USA Today Sports. Giants head coach Pat Shurmur is excited to work with the Giants' off-season acquisitions, from safety Jabril Peppers to wide receiver Golden Tate, but the one that stands out to him is offensive lineman Kevin Zeitler. When you add a solid, veteran player that's established himself and he's consistent and tough and has all the attributes you're looking for in an offensive lineman to add to that crew, we got better, Shurmur said, according to the New York Post's Paul Schwartz. While they were announced as separate deals, Zeitler's trade, when the Giants dealt pass rusher Olivier Vernon to the Cleveland Browns, went into the NFL transaction log combined with the blockbuster Odell Beckham Jr. deal, given both trades were agreed to before the new league year began. November 23, 2018, Morgantown, West Virginia, USA. West Virginia Mountaineers quarterback Will Grier, 7, celebrates during the second quarter against the Oklahoma Sooners at Mountaineer Field at Milan Puskar Stadium. Mandatory credit, Ben Queen. USA Today Sports. Ben Queen. After watching Dwayne Haskins put on a show in his pro day at Ohio State, the Giants are back on the road to see more top quarterback prospects in action on Thursday. According to SNY's Ralph Vacchiano, Pat Shurmur will be present in Morgantown, West Virginia to watch Will Grier and the rest of the Mountaineers perform at their pro day. Grier is another intriguing quarterback prospect, though he isn't considered to be a first-round talent. The 6'1", 214-pound Grier has an interesting college story that began at Florida in 2015. He was expected to lead the Gators following his freshman season, but a PED suspension for taking an over-the-counter substance led him to transfer to West Virginia. He had to sit out the entire 2016 season, as is the rule for transfers, and he showed out in his junior season. Dave Gettleman, mandatory credit, Danielle Parhizkaran. USA Today Sports. Danielle Parhizkaran, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter. Archive. The Giants now have 12 picks in the upcoming NFL Draft, which gives them a chance to fill a lot of holes and strengthen a lot of weak positions. It's very early, but here's a look at how those 12 picks could go. First round, no. 6 overall, Rashawn Gary, Michigan. March 2, 2019, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. Ohio State quarterback Dwayne Haskins, QB05, runs the 40-yard dash during the 2019 NFL Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium. Mandatory credit, Brian Spurlock. USA Today Sports. Brian Spurlock. Ohio State hosted many NFL teams at their pro day on Wednesday, and though Nick Bosa didn't participate in any drills, top-rated QB Dwayne Haskins showcased his talents on the indoor turf. And the results were impressive. Experts on hand to watch the 6'3", 231-pound Haskins sent rave reviews out through Twitter after watching him go through his full workout, where he missed only a couple throws. The consensus was Haskins hits all the marks physically, and he showcased his arm strength and accuracy the entire time. See what experts said. March Madness is officially underway as the NCAA tournament has kicked off. So, in the spirit of the big dance, SNY's Loudmouths decided to make their very own bracket, but not the one you're thinking of. Instead, Sal Licata and John Hein has compiled a bracket of the best New York transactions since the start of 2018. And who's the no. 1 overall seed. If you guessed Odell Beckham Jr., you're correct. Is there any other transaction that can top the Giants sending away one of the most talented NFL players in the game right now? NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announces the number 9th overall pick to the New York Giants. Dennis Wersbicky. With their quarterback situation in shambles, the Redskins are sniffing around about trading up in the NFL Draft, reports Jason LaCanfora of NFL.com. LaCanfora speculates that the play for the Redskins could be to trade from no. 15 to get the Jets pick at no. 3. That would allow them to jump ahead of the Giants at no. 6. And snatch Ohio State QB Dwayne Haskins from them, if he is indeed who the Giants are targeting. aside from the Giants and Redskins as candidates who could try to deal with the Jets for no. 3. La Canfora mentions the Broncos and Jaguars, but doubts either would do it. Pat Shurmur mandatory credit. Brad Penner USA Today Sports. Brad Penner, when Giants GM Dave Gettleman faced the media over a conference call on Monday to discuss the Odell Beckham Jr. trade, he simply said the move was purely a football decision. "We didn't sign him to trade him, but obviously things changed," Gettleman said. "Another team made us an offer we couldn't refuse. So what does his head coach Pat Shurmur think about one of his most lethal offensive weapons moving on to Cleveland? He is on Gettleman's side." November 24, 2018, Columbus, Ohio, USA. Ohio State Buckeyes quarterback Dwayne Haskins, 7, throws a pass against the Michigan Wolverines at Ohio Stadium. Mandatory credit. Greg Bartram USA Today Sports. Greg Bartram, Giants GM Dave Gettleman has recently sounded like someone who's itching to take a quarterback with the No. 6 overall pick in the upcoming NFL Draft. On Tuesday, a Giants contingent attended the pro day for Ohio State QB Dwayne Haskins. After Haskins' pro day, head coach Pat Shurmur, OC Mike Shula, SVP of Player Personnel Chris Mara, scout Chris Pettit, and assistant GM Kevin Abrams had dinner with him, according to the NFL Network's Mike Garofalo. According to SNY's Ralph Vacchiano, Shurmur was present at the pro days for every top quarterback in last year's NFL Draft and have been expected to do the same this year. Last week, they were in Oklahoma for QB Kyler Murray's pro day and should also be present at Drew Lock's showcase at Missouri on Friday, in November 25, 2018, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA. New York Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham, 13, and running back Saquon Barkley, 26, in the tunnel before game against Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. Mandatory credit. Eric Hartline USA Today Sports. Eric Hartline. Before the world found out about the blockbuster trade between the Giants and the Browns, Saquon Barkley received a call from Odell Beckham Jr., the highlight of the deal. "We talked over FaceTime, he had just gotten traded, so I don't think he was really happy about it," Barkley told NJ.com's Matt Lombardo after Penn State's pro day on Tuesday, where the former Nittany Lion went to support his former teammates. "He just gave me some advice about how to handle stuff in the league. He was the same old big brother to me that he's always been." Barkley was out in Los Angeles with WR Sterling Shepard and Evan Engram working out together in preparation for the upcoming season. Beckham has also been out in LA doing the exact same, but he had been out in Paris when he got the call from GM Dave Gettleman that he was moving him to Cleveland. August 30, 2018, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. New York Giants quarterback Eli Manning, 10, shakes hands with New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, 12, after their game at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit. Vincent Carchietta USA Today Sports. Vincent Carchietta, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive. Dave Gettleman was absolutely right when he said, "This narrative that Eli Manning is overpaid and can't play is a crock. Of course he can play. Just look at his numbers from last season. And he's not even one of the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the league anymore." Yet somehow over the last few years, Manning's detractors have taken his late career decline to ridiculous extreme. They make it sound like he's a 50-year-old who can't heave the ball 10 yards anymore, while he's eating up half of the team's space under the salary cap. March 3, 2019, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. Alabama defensive lineman Quinnen Williams, DL19, goes through workout drills during the 2019 NFL Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium. Mandatory credit. Brian Spurlock USA Today Sports. Brian Spurlock. The Giants have several needs to address throughout the remainder of the offseason, not simply the future at quarterback. One position group that could use an influx of dynamic talent is the defensive line. On Tuesday, defensive coordinator